On behalf of the Magnet Cove High School East program, we welcome you to the 2021 Virtual Veterans Day Assembly. Today we take a moment to show our appreciation for the sacrifices veterans make and let these veterans have the floor to tell their stories. Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Dalton Reed.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now join us for the national anthem led by Madison Polk.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Alright everybody, my name is Austin Eskola. I graduated in Magnet Cove 2013. Unfortunately, y'all do have my dad as y'all's principal. I currently serve as a Staff Sergeant in the United States Army. I've held this rank for about a year now. I'm currently a recruiter for the Army. Prior to recruiting, I joined the Army as military police, where I've had the opportunity to serve in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where I did exactly what it sounds like, police work. It's just being a police officer in the military, riding around in a patrol car, responding to accidents and crimes across military installations. Also had the opportunity to serve in Fort Lewis, Washington. I was there for 3 years, and anybody that says it rains too much in Washington, they're mostly right. It's just a lot of overcast, but it's really a good gig. Served in the military. Originally, I joined for the benefits because I didn't want to go to college, maybe get some experience, travel the world a little bit. But since then, it's turned into a lot more than just getting the benefits out of it. You get a sense of pride, and you build a bond with individuals and everybody else in the service a lot more than you really realize. It's kind of like, I would say, if you're on a football team or a softball team, you build that bond with your teammates, but take that and multiply it by 10, and it's what it's like serving in the military with all your brothers and sisters. It's people you're literally willing to go to war and die for. But the military is not also all about war. It's about helping people in general. It's humanitarian missions when there's earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, all that good stuff. I mean, it's not good stuff, you know what I mean? But, you know, we're coming up on Veterans Day, and a lot of people say, thank everybody for your service. You get thank you for your service a lot. But ultimately, it's not about me. It's about everybody that made the ultimate sacrifice before us and risked their lives and gave us the freedom that we have today. So when you thank a veteran, truly sit down, thank them, and, you know, talk to them, ask about their story and what all they've done, because they'd love to tell you about it. And it's one of my favorite parts of Veterans Day, is getting to actually sit down and talk with veterans that came before me and hearing their story and see everything they went through and see how the military has changed.
I'm Jason Parker from Magnet Cove, Arkansas. I served in the United States Marine Corps during the first Gulf War. My Marine Corps history started my senior year in high school. As soon as I turned 18, I signed up and went to boot camp that following winter. After going to Parris Island, spending 13 weeks there, they shipped me over to Camp Geiger in North Carolina. That's where I completed my infantry school before going back to my home unit. Once I got to my home unit, I started taking some college classes, which was a reserve unit here in Arkansas, and the start of the Gulf War began. I remember I was sitting in class, I think it was my history class actually, and we got a message from the office, and they came in and it was a note, and it was from my father saying, boy, you need to just come on home, they called, you're leaving. So it happened pretty fast after that point. We only had about a 2-week notice, and then we shipped out to North Carolina. This was in 1990. We spent a little time there training up, getting shots, and getting prepared, new equipment, new gear, new rifles. And at that point, they shipped us over to Saudi Arabia. It was probably Christmas, right before Christmas. It took us about 3 days to get there from the time we left the States, made several stops along the way. And then we arrived in Saudi Arabia, and they took us to a large tent city where we stayed there for a while until they were ready to send us to the forward lines along the border. My unit was India Company 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines. We were also attached with 8th Marines, part of the 2nd Marine Division. They sent us to the border. During the air campaign, we were conducting security patrols along the border. I was just outside of Kafji when the Iraqis tried to cross over into Saudi Arabia, and one of my sister units that was close by was able to repel that attack. And it was kind of hard to do because I was young, only 21 years old, and you could see in the background all the lights and the explosions. It seemed like we were right there on top of them, but we were probably actually 50 to 100 miles away. But because of the flat terrain, you could pretty much see it in the dark happening. After that incident, we continued to move closer and closer to the border. I believe the air campaign started on January 17th, and then we made our movements all the way up until February when the ground war started. Once the ground war initiated, my unit, India Company 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines, we entered under the cover of darkness into Kuwait, and we were the first 2nd Marine Division unit to see major combat operations since World War II. During that time, our responsibility was to secure a forward area for our artillery to support the main ground war that was coming in 2 days. During this time, while trying to secure the area, we were involved in one good engagement to where we had to call in airstrikes and was supported by 81 mortars. And after that battle, we were able to control of over 200 POWs from Iraqi forces. Once that was taken care of, we moved on further. We were setting up in additional positions to secure a bigger area, and waited for the ground war to start with the other units coming in behind us. Once the other units were able to catch up to us, we had to come back around and go back through the minefield again and follow up on the units that were ahead of us at that point. During this time, very little sleep, very little food. One of the main reasons was because when we were going through the minefield, our supply trailer that was next to me actually hit a landmine and blew up, and it rendered all of our food and some of our ammunition useless to us because of contamination of the metal shrapnel and lead and things of that nature. So basically all we had left was the food that was in our packs for the remaining portion of the ground war until resupplies were able to catch up to us. During that time we had 3 or 4 more engagements leading up to the ceasefire. We were just outside of Kuwait City getting orders to start mount warfare and also take control of the airport when the ceasefire was called. I believe that was on February 27th when they called that for official ground war operations to stop. At that time we pulled back to another area and we built a fire base. Engineers came in, built us a berm, we dug in for a long stay. We continued patrol operations for security and mopping up small resistance pockets for another 2 weeks before we settled in and waited for our departure, which came in June, a little bit later that year. After that, I came back home. I actually switched over to the National Guard after I got out of the Marine Corps. Spent several more years with them. But I was also able to get one of my dream jobs with the state of Arkansas as a game warden, and I just recently retired 2 years ago with 28 years of service with them. And now I'm just still living in the Magnet Cove community on my farm in a little place called Gore Neck, Arkansas, where I work on my hobbies. And that's where I plan to stay and raise my grandkids if possible.
Hi, I'm Petty Officer Gary Loughren. I'm with the United States Navy. My journey with the Navy began in August of 2001. That's when I signed into the late entry program while I was still in high school, between my junior and senior year. I graduated from Lakeside in 2002, and from there I started my active duty career. I went to boot camp in Great Lakes, Illinois. My boot camp was about 10 weeks long. After that, I reported to Naval Training Center just down the road in Great Lakes for my first A school, where I was a gas turbine systems technician mechanical. After I finished that school, I reported to my first command, which was USS Carr FFG 52, which is a guided missile frigate, and I was home ported out of Norfolk, Virginia. So I reported to USS Carr in December of 2002, and in January of 2003, we got underway for a training exercise, what was supposed to only be a training exercise. From there, we were forward deployed to build up forces for the invasion of Iraq. So in March of 2003, when the Iraq invasion kicked off, my ship was doing naval support off the coast. Basically, the ships that were firing the Tomahawks on the Baghdad ahead of the invasion force, my ship was there to protect them from a small craft. And then also we were doing what's called plane guard. That's where we followed the aircraft carriers, and just in case a pilot had to jettison over water, we would go retrieve the pilots. We did that for USS Constellation, USS Kitty Hawk, and USS Abraham Lincoln. Returned from my first deployment in May of 2003. From there, our ship went to the shipyards. We did some other exercises and workups from there. 2005 into 2006, I deployed again on the same ship. We did a Mediterranean cruise where we went to the Western Med, and then also we were off the coast of West Africa. While on that deployment, I got to become what's known as a golden shellback, which means that I got to cross the equator at the prime meridian. Not many sailors can say that they've done that, so it was a pretty cool experience for me. In 2007, I left active duty, moved back here to Arkansas. In 2011, I decided I want to go back in the Navy again, but this time as a reservist. So when I joined the Navy in 2011, again, I had to pick a new job, so I became a heavy equipment operator. And at that point, I had to go to A school again, but this time it was in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. It took about 3 months there. We got to drive everything that has to do with construction equipment, so bulldozers, backhoes, dump trucks, semis, all the fun stuff that digs in the dirt. From there, I was assigned to NMCB 28, Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 28, based out of Shreveport, Louisiana. I did 4 years with them. We actually deployed to Afghanistan in 2013 into 2014. And the part of the mission I was on there, our battalion was actually split into two groups. One group was doing what we call the retrograde. That's where they're gathering up all the equipment to be brought back to the United States. The other group, which is the group I was on, we were a part of the ANA mission, which is we were helping the Afghan National Army stand up a construction unit. So what my role was is we dealt with the heavy equipment side of the house. So we were in the process of setting up a school to teach the Afghan engineers how to safely and properly operate and maintain the equipment. So that's kind of what I did. I was kind of behind the scenes. I didn't actually teach the classes, but I did a lot of the logistics and a lot of stuff behind the scenes for them. Also participated in convoys. We had to move a lot of equipment from one base to another to kind of facilitate this mission. I came home in in February of 2014. Went back to the reserves. From there, NMCB 28 was decommissioned, and then I was assigned to Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 22 out of Port Hueneme, California. I did approximately 4 years with them. I didn't deploy with them, but I did a lot of kind of the behind the scenes work stateside for those that were deploying. From there, I got assigned to NTAG Nashville, which is Navy Talent Acquisition Group Nashville, which is a recruiting command. I was stationed out in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Worked as a recruiter. The territory that I primarily worked was like North Little Rock High School. I worked Lonoke High School, all the way up to Searcy, Beebe area, Cabot. That was the territory I was trying to find, young men and women, a lot like yourself, to want to have a career in the Navy. I left that command in July of 2021. I was only on 3-year orders, so those orders had expired. So now I'm back to the reserves. I was recently picked up by another construction battalion, NMCB 14. I've yet to report and do anything cool with them yet, but in a nutshell, I've got almost 16 years in the Navy now. If you're doing the math, saying, well, if you joined in 2001, how you only have 16 years? Well, I had a 4-year break in service, which is not uncommon for a lot of folks. So I'm at 16 years now. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things. The reason I joined the Navy is because I grew up here in Arkansas and I wanted to get out of here and go travel. The Navy's allowed me to do that. I've been to approximately 20 countries, and the Navy, for one reason or another, I've been to about 20 states. So traveling's what I joined for, traveling's what I got to do. Usually I get asked, what is the favorite place I've been to, and what's my least favorite place I've been to? Well, the favorite place I've been to was Heidelberg, Germany. Whenever I left Afghanistan, we actually did a 5-day stop in Simbach, Germany, which is an army compound that Army's occupied since the end of World War II. From there, we got to go out on a day trip to Heidelberg. Heidelberg was really awesome. They had an ancient castle that we could go take a tour of. Got to eat some really good food, and it's a really ancient city. So it was pretty cool to visit. One of the worst places that I've been to is kind of tied between Afghanistan, only because it started off hot, sandy, and then when I moved up north, it turned very cold and bitter and snowy. So, and we were at 8,000 feet in elevation. So, it was hard to catch your breath doing anything. Other than that, West Africa, and the reason why I say West Africa is we were there in the winter, which is our winter, for them is summer. So I was on the equator during the summer. It was extremely hot. I got a sunburn like in 5 minutes being outside. But Navy's been a really great opportunity for me and for my family. Those of you that are thinking about a career in the military, I definitely encourage you to, maybe consider the Navy. It's been great talking with y'all. Thank you for your time.